numbers off on your phone? Who they need? Ooh, those are nice.
Oh, those are nice. I want some. Oh man, those are nice.
Speak up now.
I'm Johnny Skenador and director of Project Lights Out. I grew up here in Oneida, Wisconsin, and I had a lot of things. I moved around a lot in the beginning of my life, and I had a lot of trauma happen within my life, and a lot of things that I just kind of buried deep. When I started this out, Project Lights Out and stuff like that, I was kind of in between deciding which world I was going to live in. Because there is two worlds that you can live in, the good and the bad. I was trying to walk in the middle, doing things while I was trying to be good. And sometimes you have to decide whether you're going to be good or you're going to be bad, but you can't walk in the middle, indecision. And that's one of the biggest things, that I can kind of tell everybody. People can tell us things 10,000 times, but unless we live them ourselves or we have a traumatic experience happen, only then are we going to know how to change. A lot of times we say through tears we learn, and that's what I had to do. I had to find myself, who I was. And I looked all over the place. I looked for years and years and years, with my addiction, me being involved in gangs, my childhood when I was sexually assaulted, a lot of stuff, but I'm strong enough to say all of these things now. Before I was not that strong, to where I felt a lot of shame and a lot of guilt for the things that I went through and the things that I was putting my community through. It was a lot, but coming back in a good way, I think that's the best thing, the way I'd like to start this out. I know what I've done. I poisoned my community. I've sold drugs to our young men. I've made gang members all over the place, and coming back in and that cultural identity is one of the biggest things that I can't say more about, in my walk as, with my faith and my belief in God too. But it also took my cultural identity for me to know my place within my community as a young, productive Native American man. How do I come to the forefront with everybody else? But with that being said, I wanted to start, start at the beginning. I was born in 1985, and my mom was young when she had me. And people are born into this world with a mom, without a mom sometimes, or without a dad. I was slung into the world and how being deaf and blind. I didn't have a mama or a dad. So that was hard for me. I was always in question my whole life. Where's my mom? Where's my dad? I had my grandma and grandpa. And I looked, and that grandma's love is different than a mother's love. That grandpa's love is different than the father's love. So I always wanted that feeling of belonging, and that was hard for me growing up all the way through. Then I constantly moved around, and I was poor. I was very poor. But my grandma and grandpa did the best that they could. I had a good group of mostly women, that kind of helped me out along my path. And man, I'm very appreciative. And some of those women are here today. Outstanding women that helped me through my life. And when I finally figured it out, I had to acknowledge them, for what they did and for them not giving up on me. They had a good group of guys too that helped me out all over the place though. From Canada to here. I had a lot, and we have some strong families in Oneida, and those families kind of came together a lot of times, and would tell me how it was, that tough love. And today we don't see that though a lot. people just look the other way. And when you scold somebody else's child, you know, you're ashamed for that. And that real uncle and real auntie within our, you know, our clan systems, man, stepping up and being like, hey, what are you doing? And that's what Laura used to do too, man. She would tell us how it was a lot of times, you know. And that's what we needed, though. And I appreciate that now, you know what I mean? Because that's what, they're doing that because they care about you. They're doing that because they don't want to see you walk down that path that I was walking towards. That dark, long road. It's a lonely road when you're walking into darkness, you know. And always that thought of missing something. You don't know what it is in your life that you're missing a lot of times, you know. And, you know, that's what I was doing. I was always looking and searching for a mama or searching for, you know, my dad. You know what I mean? But along the way, though, I picked up a couple mamas, picked up a couple father figures. You know, then my mom stepped up. And me and my mom are very close now, and I would never ask for another mother.
Amen.
My mom, I love her a lot. She stuck through my stuff with me, thick and thin. And any woman that I reached out to while I was going through all my backslides of addiction or my gangs, they stepped up, you know, and they've never turned me away. You know what I mean? No matter what. You know, they're like, we know you got good in you. We know you got good in you. You know, but yeah, I ended up landing 5th grade. Started going to Oneida Tribal School. You know, and started getting in trouble then. You know, me and my little kind of my group of buddies. Started then. I started smoking weed early, maybe 7th grade. You know, my son is going into 8th grade, so it's hard for me to tell my son to do things that I myself wasn't doing at his age, but he has a father now that's active in his life. So there's no reason, you know, when you're active in your kids' life a lot of times, like he does everything with me. You know, whether, you know, going to longhouse, you know, passage of rights, sweat lodge, healthy activities, church, whatever it may be. But me, though, taking that extra initiative to be there for my son, when he goes to bed at nighttime and then when he wakes up, being there. You know, I think that's one of the biggest things that, you know, a father can do, and having his household in order. You know, to where he doesn't think that it's normal to see his dad coming home drunk every night, you know, or arguing with my wife, you know, and that's a big thing too. You know, it starts in the home, in the house. And, you know, that's a lot. You know, and I've had that model, you know, a lot from all these good women and men. You know, Vicky Cornelius, she's like a good mama to me all the time. You know, Teresa Barber, Anita, Shirley Barber, Mary Adams, you know, Tanya. I've had a lot of good women in my life, you know. Ron Hill, you know, at the time Bob Williams was real active in my life, taking me all over and showing me different things, you know, and I try to keep the politics out of it. You know, they spread that love freely. You know, it was for free. It was them trying to glue me into a productive man, but me going into that dark stage, you know, of being, you know, 14 years old and then starting to do cocaine, but being a star wrestler. You know, I heard people later on like, oh, you should have went to college and this and that. They don't know what I did though after high school. You know, I was down in Minneapolis at the age of 15, you know, gangbanging, and them older men taking you to the side and trying to groom your kids. That's one of the biggest things. The manipulation tactics from gang members, or, you know, the guys who ain't doing good, drinking, smoking, doing drugs, all that. Them getting a hold of your kids at a young age, you know, them age brackets, 3 to 7, 8 to 12, 13 to 17, and 18 on up. What is the highest age of influence? If we don't know that, we're going to be struggling as parents. When is my kid starting to really figure out who he is and what he wants to do? And what emptinesses are our kids trying to fill? That's one of the biggest things, that trying to fill that void up. If they're not getting that love and compassion, if you're going to be a parent and be stoic to your kids and not show them love, it's going to be hard for them to be like, well, you know what? I'm not going to ask my mom and dad for any of them questions, because they're just sitting there stiff. They need that love, that compassion, and that nurturing. That's one of the biggest things. You know, with my son, you know, every day I try to tell him that I love him, you know, every single day, give him hugs and that affection to our children. You know, and I try to take that time out of my day, and he don't like it because I run a tough ship now, because I didn't know how to be a parent before at all. You know, I was in the streets. I exposed my son to gangs. I exposed my son to drugs. I exposed my son to every bad thing that you could. I tried to give him a snake versus me trying to give my son a ray of light. Like, here, son, pushing him towards Longhouse, pushing him towards, you know, church and whatever else. I try to get him involved in everything and find your way. Because when our kids are 18 years old, they're going to start figuring out what they want to be and where they're going to go. Because if you just put the tools in your kids' hands, they're not going to know how to use them. Me, I'm trying to put my tools in my son's hands, and here, son, I'll show you how to use them. Because you're 18 years old now. Now you're going to be a man. You know, that's what he goes through passage rights for, that symbolization of, you know, you're going to be out there on your own. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing for our kids. If they're not getting their answers found in the house, they're going to be getting their answers found with gangs, drugs, whatever it may be. And you can raise your kids as a good parent the whole time, but on the end, it's on them. You know, because we live with that regret of, man, my son's out there. My son just ran away about a month and a half ago. And what I do with Project Lights Out is I keep it real about everything in my life. Because I can't talk about something if I'm living a different life. And that was one of the hardest things for me, was my credibility. You know what I mean? I had to, yep, I'm struggling. I'm going through this, I'm going through that. But then people can't be like, you know what, you're talking about this, but then you're over here doing that. You ain't got your own son under control. I'm like, no, I'm asking for help. I'm asking for help for my son or my kids. You know, and I do. You know, when I need to take that knee and be humble, I have to. You know, that's mandatory. You know, and man. But yeah, back to my high school years. That was a lot for me. I was doing everything out in the public, but then I was out gangbanging and, you know, everything else. It looked good on the outside, but internally, I think I was crying out. You know, I was crying out for answers, and I was finding them in the streets. You know, starting to smoke weed and, you know, do drugs. You know what I mean? And running the streets. You know, it was that just don't get brought home by the cops. You know, that's the kind of, my grandma and grandpa are old. They couldn't be running around after me. You know, and that's how it is today a lot of times. You know, parents are scared of their kids now. They're very scared because there's a lot of things that they're learning and glorifying. You know, rap music. You know, talking about just killing people and selling drugs and everything. What I'm talking about though is influence. That influence. That's big. You know, that's cool now to you know, act a fool. It's glorified. It's glorified for all of our youth. You know, we can't censor everything that they do. We need them to have full movement of their body and full movement of their minds. You know, that's big. But yeah, when I was 18, my senior year, I was 3 credits shy of graduating. And I ended up dropping out. And I was starting to get letters from all these colleges to wrestle. You know, and then I started to, you know, be more active in my game. That was hard for me. So everybody that looked at me was like, man, weren't you supposed to go to college? So then I got locked up. I was locked up from the age of 14, and I'm still on parole right now. So that's a long time. I did over 10 years in prison. But when I was 18 years old, I dropped out of high school. And then what people don't know though is I went back, got my high school diploma, and then went to college, college in Menominee. Then I started cage fighting, you know, while I was still drinking and doing whatever I did, you know, because I felt that that regret, living with regret and not knowing how to release it, and always dwelling on the past. A lot of times we dwell on the past so much about what we could have did, and you know, I let my past die because that's the old me. So that old man had to die, you know, and then when you become anew, something beautiful, you know, then that's when you truly start living. You know, and like I say, you got 2 different kinds of pieces. You got a negative piece, and where you feel at ease, but you still don't feel that that positive peace to where you can go to bed at nighttime and you're like, you know what, I did everything in my power for my kids that I could do for them. And I did everything as a productive Native American man for my people. That's the positive peace that I have now. I can go to bed at nighttime and be like, hey, look, I'm doing everything in my power that I can to try to help my people. I'm trying to bring everybody together. That's my Indian name, the Molochs. He gathers. I gather the people, you know, and stepping out and not having fear. It's not a foolish kind of fear as to where, you know, I'm going to try to, you know, be on some real critical stuff to where I'm going to get myself injured or somebody else, because we're dealing with lives. Even them, you know, here at this building, you know, they deal with lives. We're dealing with people. And what's good for me ain't going to be good for somebody else. So that intervening with everybody individually, not thinking that what's going to work for one is going to work for everybody. That's not realistic, you know. But yeah, I had my first kid when I was 13 years old, going on 14. I have 5 daughters and 1 son. And when everybody in school would look at me, they're like, man, you got a kid, this and that. And I felt shame, you know, because I was with so many girls, womanizing and manipulating all these young girls, you know, when I was a little guy, you know, it was a lot. You know, I was living with a lot, you know, and I didn't know how to treat a woman because I didn't know how to treat myself. You know, I was a baby myself, having babies. You know, that's a big burden, not only on her, but on my family. You know, what you do reflects everyone. So a lot of times, we'll point the finger and blame everybody else. It's my probation officer, it's my mom, it's my dad, it's my grandma, grandpa, it's my girlfriend. But when I started to be able to acknowledge what I was doing, not keeping my body in check, you know, because I affect everybody, you know, because of the things that we do, not just as adolescents, but as being older. You know, the words that you say, they say your words carry weight. You know, your voice has a velocity to it that is just gonna, man, it can tear people down or build people up. You know, and that's big. You know, your words are really big in what you say. You know, I don't fight with my hands no more. I fight with my words in a pen. That's the way that I have to fight. You know, I see our people, you know, for years we didn't know how to battle, but today's battle is a lot different than the older days. You know, but we're at the forefronts. You know, that movement. But 19 years old, I was in an abusive relationship, fighting every day, getting physical. You know, that was a normal for me. You know, I had my kids. You know, that was huge. You know, coming home drunk, them seeing me, you know, the leader of my gang later on. You know, that was huge. You know, bring my sons into meetings with me. You know, thinking that was healthy. I'm protecting and preserving my people. You know, every single gang member that you have, every gang is based on a faith. They're considered domestic terrorists because they terrorize communities and then they move on to the next. You know, when they get indicted, it's like a hydra. You could cut off the head guy's position, but another one is just going to step up. You know, that's why this is so big in what I try to do about the gangs, because they are influencing our kids and they are joining gangs, and that is a reality of it. You know, and that's why I felt that void was being filled. I had hatred. I had anger built up in me, and I would take it out in the streets, you know, other gang members, sometimes innocent people, you know what I mean? I had no respect for human life at all. It didn't matter if I died or if I killed somebody. You know, I was wanted by the Secret Service before. I was wanted in connection with 2 murders, you know, and I got through that. You know, I got through a lot. 20 years old, I went up to Mole Lake, Wisconsin. Little bitty Mole Lake. I was on my way back from Minneapolis. I got stabbed in the lower abdomen in a bar fight. You know, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I said, I have the knife wound was about this big. Thought they're gonna have to cut me open. Black stuff was coming out. I was holding my stomach on my way to Crandon. I was was like, Ma, I said I might die. I was like, I got stabbed in the stomach. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was scared. I was young, 20 years old, living reckless. And they rushed me over there and put this big patch on there, like this glue or something to try to hold it together, and made it to the hospital and stuff like that. But what I'm saying though is my mom, all the things that us guys put our moms through, we don't say sorry for keeping her up late at nighttime, her wondering if she's going to get a call for dead, or if she's going to get a call, hey, your son overdosed, your daughter overdosed, your son was drunk driving and got into a car accident. There's so much different things, and I'm sorry for what I put my mom through, for sure. But we don't care a lot of times when we're in addiction because it's about us and feeding that demon all the time. They say you're a slave to anything that controls you, and that's not a part of who we are. And them guys got to start fighting for their lives, and we got to start fighting for our kids' lives. That's a lot. And then the second time I got stabbed I got stabbed in the head. I got stabbed, I was in a fight with 2 other gang members, and we started fighting, and I dropped one of the knives that I had, picked it up and stabbed me in the head, and I started gushing out blood all over the place. I walked into Perkins and everybody screamed. They thought I got shot because of the amount of blood. But I started to kind of go blind because green stuff was coming out. And I ran all the way from there over to my auntie's house, and when she opened the door, she screamed. She's like, "Oh my God," because she thought that I had got shot in the head. It was huge. It was bad. And my sight was going because it was so deep. And I don't know what they hid in there, but they hid something. But I remember that too. Us putting our aunties, uncles, grandma, and grandpa through things besides our mom and dad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's a hard thing. We don't know the trauma that we're bringing to other people, because then their emotions start getting tied in with us. You know what I mean? And people got jobs, people have other lives that they're taking care of. And that's one of the bigger things too. Me having kids at such a young age and not being responsible, my kids were pushed off on my mom and my 60-some-year-old grandma. She loved it, but at the same time, though, grandma's done raising kids and she needs to have her life. I should have stepped up as a man, take care of my kids, get myself out of addiction, but also asking for help, knowing when you're beat. I'm beat. I can't do it by myself anymore. I need help. We're too prideful a lot of times, or that shame and sense of guilt. When you men can get over that, or women can get over that, then only can you truly find help. When you start admitting that you're beat. I had enough. I've been going for 3 days. I don't have nothing. You don't got a pot to piss in. Nothing. You don't got anything. You're poor in hope. You're poor in love because you don't know how to love yourself. And that's huge. That's something that you can't buy. There's no price on love. And I had to definitely reevaluate my life. I tried to do good. 21, 22 years old, I thought I could have a family and be normal. But I still wanted to be a gang member and run the streets. That was a big thing with me. Running those streets, doing positive things, but then going out and then wreaking havoc at nighttime. They say what's in the darkness is going to be brought to the light eventually. All them deep, hidden things that you're doing behind closed doors. I could be over here talking real good and then go back and then just do something foolish. You know what I mean? That's not a reality now. And being seasoned in your walk of whatever you're going to do. It's hard to take advice from anybody that has not successfully done it themselves. It's like a lawyer trying to tell a doctor how to practice medicine. It's impossible. But yeah, I definitely kept running the streets. Then I got into a car accident. I was going 160 miles an hour in a 350Z. hit a patch of black ice. I was coming from Carter back to Oneida in Winton. I never drove a stick shift before, but I downshifted and it started a fishtail and the car flipped. Boom! I flew out the back window and the car rolled over my leg and I broke my femur. That's the hardest bone in your body to break, but that car broke my femur. My leg was over here. And mind you, I was cage fighting. You know, I have to be in my body. I wasn't taking care of it because I was supposed to be fighting. You know, that was my way I was making money, promotions, you know, everything. And, you know, I thought that I could live in both worlds again. Big bad cage fighter breaks his leg. There are a lot of times, if you break your ankle, sometimes you can come back and it'll be normal. But your femur, man, they put a metal rod in my leg. While I was in the ditch though, I called my mom again. Cried to mama right away. I said, Mom, you know, I said, they can't find me, I'm in the ditch. I was trying to move around, but my legs was just like jello. And my mom was screaming hysterically. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I love you. I said, I think I'm gonna die out here though, because they can't find me, it's winter time. I could hear him riding back and forth, you know. I had that GPS on my phone, I kept trying to tell him, like, I'm down, and that's a long road. You know, it's a big, long stretch in the back road. You know, the car was way down there because I gotta remember, I was ejected from the car and it was going 160. You know, and flew in the ditch, and, you know, I just kept screaming for my mom. You know, nobody could save me. They ended up finding me, then they flight for life me to Menasha, Wisconsin. I woke up and my leg was up. There was my mom again. But the things again that I put her mom and dad, you know, I put her through that again. Her looking at her child in the hospital, me calling her about to die, you know, being ejected from that car. You know, and I go up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin later on. I ended up, well, that's where my addiction started. Actually, they prescribed me Percocets as a pain medication, and I thought that, you know, I didn't know nothing about addiction or anything like that. You know, they just prescribed me some pain pills. So I was living in Milwaukee after that, and I was taking my pain pills, and I got up to taking 4 pills, and I would sit there and I'd be like just stuck, numb to everything. My leg was healing up, and they told me that you're never gonna fight again. They said you're never gonna walk normal again. You're gonna walk with a permanent limp, and you know, you're gonna be limited as to where you'll be able to work. And I believed them. I believed all them doctors, everything. And I was sitting back there, you know, with my leg up. You know, the only way I could go home was if I walked up this thing and then, you know, walked back down it. I couldn't do that. Couldn't. You know, so I had gotten released anyways. Went back to the house, and you know, I sat there a couple months. I moved doctor to doctor and locate my prescriptions, find them on the streets, you know, whatever I had to. But what they call that is a functioning addict. I had everything. I had a car. I had 2 houses. We had a condo. You know, before everything. You know, I was a functioning addict. When I was making fun of everybody for, oh, look at them pillheads, this and that. I was a pillhead myself, you know. But I was just a paid pillhead. An addict is an addict, no matter what it is, however you want to call it. Just because you think you got everything, you're still an addict. I was a slave to that drug, no matter what. Couldn't leave it. They had to walk beside me. Come on, it was telling me, come on, let's go. Go over by this guy and get this. Come on, go to this doctor. Let's go. You can't live without me. You need me. You need me because you can't fight no more. You're never going to be able to do anything without me. You need me by your side. You know what that is? That's that great big demon right there that our tribes are fighting. Our tribes are fighting that together right now, though. We're coming together to start fighting that great big demon together. You know, that's taking our kids. manipulating them to think that they can't live without that they're not loved. I mean, they are loved. They are loved. All of our kids are loved, and that big demon, we're gonna beat it. You know, we have to. We have to together. We can't do nothing alone. We need the families, foundations, to step up and get stronger. To where they're like, hey, you know what? I got my culture here, or my faith. I got my family, and I got the community support. Them three things together, that will help. How they always talk about it takes a family to raise a child. You older kids, we think that because we're 30, 40, 50 years old that we still are not our kids as kids. We're kids yet to our mom and dad. And our responsibility is knowing what they are to our mom and dad. Our responsibilities to the community. You know, we lack that. We don't know our responsibilities because we're walking without purpose. Like I always tell everybody, you feel like you have everybody around you, but you still feel alone. So your spirit is wandering. Whenever you're ready to get called back home, you have to seek it out. You know, have that will to go and fight for yourself. Stand up for your life. Because what I tell everybody that I work with, I can't fight a war with you if you're gonna not fight as hard as me. How can I fight a war that you're not willing to fight for yourself? It's like me dragging a big ball and chain behind me. Get to the front, let's go, let's start fighting. Get up, let's go. Get in there, armor up. But like I said, that addiction that I was living with. One day I was sitting there, and I got up to taking 4 pills, like I said, and I started to drool. You know, and I was sitting there just going through everything in my head, and nobody was holding me. I was there. I had to wash myself, and it was hard because I was walking like I was limping, everything. Walking with a cane. You know, nobody seen me like that. Nobody knew what I was going through, my inner battles that I was fighting, that rage and anger, and I was feeling self-pity. I felt every emotion of darkness that you could feel, everything. And finally, I was like, you know what? I said, I'm going to fight again. I was like, I'm done with this. But before that, though, I had that big breakdown to where I was like, I want to die. I was like, I want to die. I was like, I'll never be the same. I'm not going to fight again. I'm never going to do nothing normal again. I'm not. I'm going to be a victim because I got all these gang members that I was into it with before. Living in Milwaukee, you know, all over. I was like, I'm going to be victimized. I can't fight back. My life ain't going to be worth it. But I knew that I couldn't kill myself. I knew that for a fact, you know, because my faith, I won't. There's a lot worse things that can happen besides death. And, you know, and that not knowing where you're going to go after you die. You know, that's a big thing too, that word death. What happens after death? You know, it's big. So I took my pills and I dumped them down the toilet and I flushed them. I was just sitting there like that. Took a shower, got myself together a little bit. Not everybody has that strength. So finally put them pills down there and never looked back, and that was in 2008. You know, I was living in Milwaukee. And I went back in the bedroom, I laid back down, and I went through those withdrawals. Felt like I was gonna have a seizure. I felt like I was gonna die. That was the worst feeling in the world. And we're telling everybody, you know what, go to them detox centers and this and that, that's fine. But when you go through those withdrawals, you'll know exactly. That's why you're feeding that demon. Man, that was one of the worst things I went through in my life, was going through withdrawals. You know, it does something to you. You're scared of it, you fear it after you go through it. Sometimes you'll dibble and dabble in it again, but no, you're going to have to go through them withdrawals again. That scares people. They don't have that power to go through those withdrawals. People are scared of detox centers a lot of times because you get thrown in a room. Me, I did it by myself, but the people who are not strong enough to do it by themselves, they need their mom and dad. And yup, this is how it works. Yup, you stole from your mom and dad. You might have went and took your grandma's clothes closet that still has price tags, and you might have took them back to the store so you can get that $50 hit. You have to forgive them. But don't be a fool. Don't be an enabler. Don't enable your kids at all. It ain't a matter of throwing them away because parenting is for life. We have to. And then those addicts have done so much to the community. They've robbed people. They've stole things that are irreplaceable. Family heirlooms, medicines, they might have misused everything. They've done everything in the book, but they're still worthy of love.
Yep.
And that's the only thing that's going to cure them. You can't give up on your kids. You know, they do a lot of bad stuff. We do. I do. I wreak havoc, mayhem. You know, but that's hard though, because saying one thing and then going way back there, you get wounded as parents a lot of times because, man, you were just telling me this. You did good for a week, but then backsliding every time. That backsliding. And then that shame feels about how your kids, what they're doing in the community. Look at my mom. She was like, man, he was just on the TV, on the news. Can't even imagine how my mom was feeling. Mom's out there doing good, and then you got my damn kid over there, hooked on drugs, being the head leader of his gang, everything. You know, I put my mom through a lot. Because a lot of times you get thrown away. When your kids do bad, and that means that it reflects on you, right? That's how it is. That's what that colonization did. Well, it must have been their parenting. And it's not like that a lot of times. You do got a good mom, you do got a good dad that did everything in their power that they could as a parent. But it's the kid's choice. It is not nothing that you've done. You did everything as a mother. You did every single thing. Even if you did enable them, but you did it out of the goodness of your heart. That's what it counts for. You're not a bad mom and you're not a bad dad. So you got to stop living with that. And we do. We got things that happen in our lives that we cannot control. My grandma couldn't control that because she loved me so much, so she took care of my son. And he was better off with her. I would have been dragging my kid around. She would have been going crazy. Man, he's bringing him to them drug houses. No, you stay right here with grandma. I'll protect you. I'll do it. He's not good right now. He doesn't have a good mind. That is good though. We do have to help them grandparents. Those mom and dads. Because they're seeing them next generations. They're trying to prevent them kids from what's happening to their kids. So that's big. You know, and it's not easy. You know, they're having a hard time getting child care. Grandma and grandpa need a break. Auntie, uncle needs a break. Once in a while. Just them couple hours to breathe and be like, man, you know, picking them kids up all the time, screaming, everything, you know. If a 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old is having a hard time doing it, imagine how your 65, 70-year-old mom or grandma is. And they don't got much life years left in them, man. It's time for these boys and girls to start stepping up. Let's do it. If you're scared of recovery, man, come talk to me. I don't have no problem with that. We'll do it together. I'll carry you on my shoulders. But when it become too much, it's time to get down and start walking. You know, because you have to grab him by the hand, literally. Grab him by the hand and be like, come on, let's go, brother. Come on, sister, let's go, it's time. I've been through what you've been through. It's one of the biggest things. You know, that being able to relate to somebody. Now back to my story. I have to redirect myself, that's what my mom calls it. But yeah, I got out of that relationship, you know, with that person in Milwaukee, and, you know, I had to keep going. I was still trying to find myself. You know, stopped with the pills, kept going with cocaine and alcohol. You know, you get out of one addiction and then you try to feed it with another. You know, it has to be 100%. You know, 100% of what you're going to do. Can't be 50-50. There is no in between. You know, living in both worlds. But what I had done though, later on, kept going to jail, kept going to jail, kept going to jail. And then got into another car accident. You know, 3 car accidents were pretty traumatic. Didn't learn the first time. You know, my first car accident, my first time getting, 2 times I talked about being stabbed. I was stabbed 3 times. I was stabbed in a gang fight. The kid I was fighting with on the ground, first I felt the poke in the back, and then I felt the arm come around and try to stab me in the face, and I caught the knife with my hand. He put my hand all the way over here. They had to sew my hand back together. That's why I got this big patch, and then I have another one right here, because I got stabbed again. You know? And the stuff that happened in Milwaukee later on. You know, I hit prison. I got on a high-speed chase in Stone Lake, Wisconsin. I was in the back roads. Told my daughter that I would be home. And I made it home. After that high-speed chase, I made it home. You know, I was in the back roads of Lincoln, and me being so reckless, I had people in the car with me, and I seen the police because I was on probation. And got on a high-speed chase, and I was going through the back roads, and I hit it around that corner. And when I came, I shut off the lights, and I was going fast. You know, they were screaming, and I was telling them, shut up, drinking that bottle. You know, that poison I was drinking. You're not the same person. You don't care. You know. And I got away. I got out of the car and ran. And the guy that was with me, another gang member in the back, he stayed in the car. He got caught. But what did he do though? He ended up telling on me. You know, I got 2 years in that time and 5 years out, but I still didn't learn. I used to think, oh, well, you know what? He told on me, this and that. Now though, I'm like, man, you saved my life. Because I did that. I did that crime. That's what I did. It's not my probation and parole agent's fault that happened. It's not that young man's fault that was in the back seat. He got caught on another crime but told on me. I don't care about that no more. That guy gave me something in my life that, you know, he took away a couple of years away from my life. But I still didn't learn, but I learned something from it. They said that it's better, it's okay to go back so you know what to do so you can go forward. It's okay to make mistakes, but you have to learn from them. You know, that's one thing. If you're just sitting there in indecision all the time, looking right and looking left, you're not going to learn anything at all. Me, I was making mistakes, but now though I'm like, man, I made these mistakes and I can talk about it. Not glorify it though. Not glorifying that life at all because I was a damn fool. But I know what not to do next time because of the mistakes that I made when I learned from it. You know, that was hard. When I went to prison, I was all over then. Then I got out, 2013, I got out. That was my first birthday that I had that I can remember. Not in prison since I was 14, in jail. You know, I was 28 years old, I think it was. And I was with my mom. I had my first little birthday with her and stuff like that. Put my candles on there. I was still wrapped up in the gangs. All that in and out. Trying to lead everybody, you know, while I was still in the gang. To me, I was like, oh, I'm doing good. But you have to unload all that baggage and clear out those people. Now I'm strong enough to go in by these are still my friends yet. Yep, I'm strong enough to go in by these guys and be like, you know what, bro? That's fake what we're doing. That's them are not our ways. Them gangs, them all are. That's fake. Because I do gang prevention, intervention, and suppression of gangs now. Why though? Because of the things that I was leading my people towards, pushing them towards all that foolishness. Like I said, as Native American people, we have our own colors. Gangs got colors. We have our own songs. They have all that, their traditions as a gang member, but we have all that within our own culture, which is rich. And we're rich in that. We have that identity of who you are and what your place is in this community. You know, that's big. And if people don't feel safe going into them healthy environments, you got to step out. Because it is gonna take time to get your credibility back. It ain't a matter of me proving myself at all. Because after a while, I was like, you know what? I don't even care what people think no more. I gotta get this done. While you're over there doubting me, there's 10 people that I could have been saving.
Amen.
You know, because of the influence that I have.
Yeah.
You're not using me as a weapon as the way I should be used. They say to catch a wolf, you need to send in another wolf. And Oneida has a wolf. I'm not being sent in. I'm not being utilized how I should. So that's why I had to step on and be like, you know what? I'll take it upon myself to do what I have to do and not worry about what everybody else is thinking. And in that process, I have to reach out to everybody else because they need healing too. And it started here in Oneida, most definitely. It starts right here. Because what I had to learn too was, how am I going to bring the fight to another tribe when the fight is right here at home? You know what I mean? This is where our fight's at. You know, for our people. And then branching off and going into war with the other tribes together. Let's go. Let's do this together. Again, side by side. Because we don't have one person as a leader. We're all at the forefront, lined up, ready to go to war for our kids. Ready to go to war at this great big demon that we're all fighting. That bad spirit of addiction, everything. You know, that's what makes it different when I joined up with Yukwatsyay and all these other different movements. Is that we might not have a bunch of money, but we're rich in what we're doing because we have a passion for it. We have a passion for helping our kids. We have a passion for helping addicts, those who are suicidal. And everybody else, what one is good at, the other one ain't. That's what makes it so beautiful, is because we were all made to be able to do something and to put something in. But that's what that glue is, as to where you're like, well, I don't know what I can do. Well, let us know where we can put you in, how you can help. Whether it's just talking to these kids or whatever it may be, the minimal, from cooking, anything, you know what I mean? Coming together and showing your face, even when you're in addiction or suicidal or whatever it may be, just showing your face. That's the best thing that you could do. I'm not asking you to change or be like me or nothing like that. I'm not an activist. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a medicine man. I'm a guide. That's all I'm doing, is I'm trying to just guide you. Come on, bro. Let's go. Come on, sister. Let's go. I'm just a guide. That's it. But now back to my story again.
Redirect, sorry, redirect.
But it's good word though.
Sit right here.
Wow. I ended up getting in another car accident, going 120 miles an hour down, Oneida and Delsway. I blew through a light and I flipped my truck. I flipped it 3 times, a big Yukon in the alley. It's a big truck. It hit into a garage. Boom! Who did I call?
Mom.
Called the old man. I called Ron. Called him right away. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, got into a car accident, this and that. Scared. Trying to go to the nest. He's like, no, what the hell, But he was always good to me all the time. So I went there. And I ended up kind of talking me into turning myself in and stuff like that. Got caught. Went to prison again. This time, though, I got more time. I was facing 71 years. 71 years in prison I was facing. For each person that was in my vehicle, they were giving me repeaters because I had a second-degree reckless endangering safety from Forest County that I was on probation and parole with. And then I got into another vehicle, second-degree reckless endangering safety for each person in the car. So I had caught a crime that was of the same nature. So I got repeaters and enhancers on that. And it was gang related. At that time, I had the highest position for my gang that you can have. Having regional meetings. It's all in the paperwork. It was on TV, everything. So it ain't like, oh, well, you're not supposed to be talking about stuff like that. Yeah, it was out there. It was all over the TV, everything, And it was a part of my life as to where I thought I was on top. Thought I was on top. But I was on the bottom. I was way on the bottom. I worked 10, 15 years of my life to get that highest position within my gang. You know, going all over Illinois, Texas, Minneapolis, everywhere that you could see. I was the baddest gang member. I was the baddest drug dealer. Everything, you know, that I thought I was on top because people were scared of me because I thought that, you know, that was respect. But people don't fail to realize when you're a leader for anything, you have two kinds of things that you want. Either you want to be feared, and that's when somebody's going to kill you, or you want that respect. When people fear you, that's not a form of respect at all. Mm-hmm. Even with good leaders, you got all your colleagues that are fearful of you. You know, they don't respect you. They're scared of you. That's not what you want. That's not the kind of leader that you want to be. So, I got my PSI back. They looked at all my criminal history, everything that I did. I had over 20 cases. You know, 6 driving after rev, 7 driving after suspensions. I was a habitual traffic offender. I was, you know, all these car accidents, robbery with use of force because a guy had told me that he was gonna kill my kid's mom. So I went over to his kid's mom's house, walked in the door, made her get him on the phone, and I told her, I was like, call him up. And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna kill your wife and your kids. You said you were going to kill mine. You know, so I did that. She screamed, he screamed, you know what I mean? And, you know, I went to prison for all of that stuff. All of the crimes that I had committed, you know, and I had to later on look at, like, I did these things. I did all of these things that wreaking havoc because of what I was fearful for, because I was out there in the streets, you know, fighting with other gang members. But I ended up going to prison that last time, and I started to study. Studied everything, political philosophy, business law, every single thing that I could study. I went to every study that you could think of between sweat lodge, looking at all the different historical facts for every single thing. Studied 5 different languages, you know what I mean? Preparing myself, I was like, you know what? I said, I'm ready to get out of this gang life. I was like, I can't do it no more. You know, and they ended up sentencing me. The judge is looking at me. He's like, John, he's like, I see the stuff that you were doing while you were in the community. That was in 2013. He's like, you were working with your people. He said, but you were still in the gang while you were working with the people. He said, John, he said, but I do see goodness in you. And this is consecutive Kelly. That's what they call him, Kendall Kelly. I went in front of 5 different judges. Yeah. My probation officer said that you're deemed a threat to this community. She's like, you're a gang leader, you're a drug dealer, you're everything. You're a career criminal, you're habitual with every single thing that you do. So you have ties to Texas, you have ties to Illinois, you have ties all over the state of Wisconsin. Little me, little bitty Johnny, you know. That was me. That was the guy that I became. Because anything that I put my mind to, I try to overachieve at it, even when it was bad.
Nancy, sit down.
So, I get in front of all these judges. One is like 4.5 years. You're going to prison this time. 2 years didn't do it. 4.5 years, my mom's sitting in the back, just crying, praying for me. 4.5 years you got. Next judge, 2 years. Next judge, 3 years. So I'm getting all this time, like, man, it was just, I don't know how many times. I had over 1,400 days in Brown County. It's like 3.5, 4 years almost, just alone in there. Forest County, I had a year or 2 in there already. Outagamie had a couple years. Prison, I did over 10 years in prison.
Oh, wow.
County jail. Everything. That's a lot of time. The longest I ever was out was for 10 months. It's the longest I've been out since I was 14 years old. How do you break that chain off your life? You know. So, but I kept going. Got to Oshkosh, mad, taking this joint over. Took the whole joint over. Then I got shipped to Green Bay Max. That's when my life changed. Was in Green Bay Max. 23-1 guys who had 50 years or 100 years. And those for you young kids listening, if you do a crime and you're going to be 14 years old and charge you as an adult, might get stuck in Green Bay Max if you get over 5 years or 10 years. Your son's going to have 50 years, 100 years, and I was in there with them. I was in there with them guys. Murderers. You know, they have to do 100 years in Green Bay Max and then we'll do another 100 years in the feds. They'll die in prison, these guys.
Jesus.
You know, I was in there with the top gang leaders all the time. They were my buddies, you know. I was sending the hits, and then when I stopped being a gang member, a couple hits got sent on me. For stopping. You know, that was the hardest thing for me. And I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, you know, I was like, I'm done. I was in the hole in Green Bay Max, and I came in like this. This is how they shackle you, right here, like that. Green Bay Max on a monitor. I'm sitting there looking at my mom. Shameful. Shame, the shame I felt. Then, my mom was like, son, are you done? I was like, are you done? At the lowest point of my life, man, I was like, Mom, done. And like, I put that down. I was like, I'm done with it. I said, I don't know if I'm going to come out of here alive. I said, they're going to probably try to kill me. I was like, they got 10, 15, 20 years. Each, a piece, you know. How do you tell your mom that? And you're driving to go home, just crying and crying. But I was comforting my mom. But why though? I was like, because when I was in the hole, when I got there, when I went to Green Bay Max, I got conspiracy for selling drugs because I was selling drugs in Oshkosh, you know, weed and tobacco and stuff like that. I got conspiracy. I got group resistance and petition for being the gang leader in the prison. And then I got enterprising and fraud, you know, for the things that I was doing inside the prison. I controlled over 150 guys underneath me. I controlled the outside a lot of times too of what I was doing, the influence that I had, you know. And that was a big thing, you know. That was huge to me. That was everything. That's everything that I worked for as a career criminal. Was being at the top, getting that fame. That was false. That was fool. That's what a fool does.
Yep.
You know. So I did that. But when I got in there later on in Green Bay Max, I got put in the hole. When I arrived at Green Bay Max, I was looking around. Just there was a block, maybe about, you could go like this in your cell. You know, and I'm in there for 24 hours a day. There's a thing this big, and I did 6 months in there. And what that does to somebody, it's like caging up a dog in the kennels, and you're not letting him out. No. Only time you're gonna get out of that kennel is when you get a shower every 3 days, and the towels smell like puke. Yep. And there's guys in there that have been in there for 10 to 15 years inside of the holes. They don't want to come out in the population they have. They're scared of that population, you know. And the only conversation and the human contact that you get is with the guy next door or the whole tier, and they bang on the doors all night. All night. I mean, like loud banging. It's like hitting this window 10, 15 times, but all night, 5, 6 hours. It's like somebody sitting like this in your ear the whole night for hours, screaming. It's like being in hell down in there. You know, it's just like that. And I got there. That was my first time going to a max prison for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you know, I had to do my whole time because I was a gang leader. There was no, hey, you know what? I'm done. I tap out. There was none of that. When you get there, they monitor everything. They monitor you because you're high risk. They pull you out. And then you got other gang members that are like, when you get out there, we're killing your ass. We're going to kill you. Like, all right, man, I got my homies. I'm not worried about it. Let's kill each other then. You know, that's the mind frame that you have. You know, it's kill or be killed, especially when you're in max, man. It ain't no joke. So, I get in there and I'm sleeping one night, and it's like maybe 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm just sitting there, and it's real quiet. So I look up and I see this, I don't know what it was. It was like, it was huge. It was a big, dark spirit that was over the top of me. And I never believed in nothing really, like nothing, you know what I mean? It was a real human, I don't know, whatever I was doing or whatever was down there in Green Bay Max, I couldn't read though. They call it paralysis. It was like it was pushing on my chest or something. I didn't know what it was, you know. I didn't know what the hell, I didn't know what to do. Never seen no kind of manifestations or, you know, nothing like that. But I did that day, for sure. That day I changed my life. That's what made me stop being a gang member. It was because demons were starting to torment me. I didn't know what it was. Whatever I was good at, that thing, it wanted me, whatever it was. You know, so I started praying to God. I tried everything else. Sitting there, I was out of breath. You know, so I started praying to God and, you know, Jesus, and backed out of myself. You know, and that was, after that I started to do studies, you know, 25,000 archaeological finds, prophecy, everything, you know, 300 Messianic prophecies, everything. Started to get involved in my culture because I felt like I was missing something. I was like, man, I was like, I'm doing this Christianity. I said, but those are not our ways as United people. I was like, but I need my culture of who I am. What's my Indian name? You know what I mean? What am I? Who am I? I had that missing feeling. I was like, man, I need something. I'm missing something here. So when I got out, you know, they started to tell me about my medicines. They started telling me about everything. And I'm like, man, that's what I'm missing. My culture. That's what I was missing as a Native American man, was my culture of who I was within my community. How could I step up? This is why we have elders. Because they know, because they've been through it. I didn't know how to listen. I thought I knew everything. You know? It's like my mom said, oh, you never want to listen to nothing. Well, all of them, probably that's what they all told me. Especially one. Not gonna learn boy. Yep. But yeah. But yeah, that was hard for me. So I started, you know, to go to Sweat Lodge, started to go to church, and I loved it. I loved it. I had found my missing link, you know, and I put it together. And when I got out, I was stumbling. I was stumbling hard still a little bit. When I got out, I was still doing good, but I was still drinking it. I thought that I could be successful drinking and doing what I was doing. You know, I was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And that was hard for me. I was like, man, I'm doing this, but I'm still doing this yet. Oh, well, I'm not doing cocaine. I'm not a gang member. You know, I can still be out there in the community doing what I'm doing and then still drinking yet here and there. Oh, when I go to the casino, I'll just have a couple. I had to let go of everything, you know. I lost 2 babies in that time, you know, with my lady. And then I was tending to drink here and there. Then it turned into a month or 2, you know, every couple days. But then I had to just let everything go, and then my life it opened up. It opened everything up when I let everything go. No more being a gang member. No more doing drugs here and there. No more drinking. I poured everything out. Here, take it all. Take everything away from me. Take my addiction, take everything. You can have it. Because it's not helping my life out. If all I had in common with my friends was just drinking, doing drugs, and even with women, if all you have in common with them is having sex, doing drugs, everything, that's not the kind of relationship I want, nor is them the kind of friends that I want. But I'll help them. That's no problem at all. But for me, my sobriety had to be selfish. It had to be about my sobriety and trying to maintain that. Whether it's in the infant stage or whatever it may be. And when you're not strong enough to be able to walk into that bar and just be able to talk to your friends, hey, how you doing, man? I'm just checking up on you guys. Then don't do it. No, you don't want to go into high-risk places, that's fine. If you're not strong enough to go around your friends while they're doing lines or something in the car, then don't go around them. It's just as easy as that. Just put it away and put it down. Because if you're not in that line of work of going to the people, then why are you there? There's no reason for you to be there. Nothing good happens after 10 o'clock.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, oh, well, I can do this and that, but, you know, I don't have to go to the bar or nothing like that, you know, but I'm still going to go over to this house party. It's the same thing. Setting yourself up in high-risk places. Well, but yeah, then I started Project Lights Out when I was in prison. I was planning on what I was going to do, you know, with the community when I got out. After, you know, I got out of the hole. While I was in that hole, I got out and I had 2 hits sent out on me. You know, I had this little young guy, 20-some years old, and then another older guy. He had sent me down a note. He's like, John, he's like, I don't want to do this to you. He's like, I don't want to do this. I said, wait, man, what are you talking about, little bro? You know? He's like, man, they sent a hit out on you. I was like, all right. You know, well, what you want to do? He's like, no, I'm just saying, you know, because I was the top dog getting another hit sent out on me by another top dog. You know? So I go up to the rec area, and then I'm on the phone, and I look behind me, and there's 2 guys that walk up, and they got their gloves on. So I put the phone down, and I hit him, boom, because I cage fought. You know, I knocked him down, got on top of him, and then the other guy come up and was punching me in the back of the head, so I got up, and I beat them both up at the same time. You know what I mean? But that made things kind of hectic for me, you know. And then after that, I got into one more fight, and then they left me alone. They're like, we're done. Just go. You know, go. So then when I got out, I had to talk to the guys I had to talk to, and I got let go. And it don't happen like that a lot. But because of the havoc that I reaped before that, I got my respect. You know, and that's what I was sitting there thinking before. I'm like, man, you know, because of the level of violence that I brought, these guys still think that that's the guy that I am, that I still have those ties in. And I'm like, dude, if you live the life that I live now, I don't have to look back no more. You know what I mean? I'm not selling drugs, not eating gambling, not drinking. And them are all different circles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a group of guys that you drink with, and a group of guys that you gangbang with, and a group of guys who only do cocaine. They're all different circles, and all them doors got shut. Oh, none of them. You know, now I'm going back in for our people. You know, that's big. Started working with the TAP initiative for a little bit. You know, I'm thankful for that. You know. But Project Lights Out, I picked up 6, 7 other directors that I work with. You know, a great group of people, and you know, working with all these other community movements. You know, Yukwatsyay, what do we got? Lock the Flambeau Hole, Stop the Dealing, Start the Healing, Wittenberg, Old Chunk, Stockbridge, all of them, you know, coming together, and because of the goodness that we see for the people. It's not about us trying to get famous. It's not about us trying to you know, take the lead and be the top, whatever. It's about the people in the community. When we start making it about these entities, then that's when the healing is going to stop. Because then it just becomes something for money. It just becomes something for, well, let's just meet up. And that's fine to meet up. But where's the healing going to start? That's the biggest thing. You know, because we have generational trauma. We have ancestral wealth built off of the people. You know, we just need to know that, and we do. We have all the resources within our tribes, cultural wellness, behavioral health, everything that we can push them towards. We have numerous different healthy activities for our tribes that we can be doing. You know, and being able to take that knee. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and that's my story. No, I still got that round in my leg, and actually I got cage fight after that. I ended up cage fighting 6 months later. I ended up after I got done going through my withdrawals, I started to walk right, and then but I did my own rehabilitation. I got in there, I fought for Combat USA, House of Pain, gladiator fighting. I fought with a guy that fight he was 6'6", and I moved up a weight class though, because I got heavier from not being able to work out and stuff. So I took the fight at 175 from 155. He dropped down from like 225 to 175, so he was big. And I was at 155, and I had to move up to 175, and I'm only cutting from like 170. So he was big. And I remember getting in there before I saw him. I'm over there, I'm a little bit more heavier, than like 15 pounds. That's a lot when you're fighting. And I looked up, he's 6'6", and he's like, oh, this is quick. Another Indian guy, it was an Indian guy that was real.